All right. So we're live. I'm just going to grab the stream once it gets started and pause it so I don't have that playing in the background. Okay. So welcome everybody to the User Feedback Initiative team meeting. And today we are going to be going through a few of our action items. I have a quick update from Giuseppe. Giuseppe unfortunately cannot be with us today, but he shared that that he's reached out to Matteo to help finish the migration survey. And my feedback on that is, let's try to align that to the current release. It's great timing, and it'll help sort of build awareness and promote the release. Sort of adding value to the project in general, and we'll be able to do things like the meetup that we've been working on and other activities associated with that. So let me get to our agenda. No, I guess that is the first item. Our next item up on the agenda is current and past members survey. This is sort of stacked behind the other surveys. I don't have any other feedback on surveys other than we have the bandwidth to do the one right now, and if anything, the feedback on this it could either be a check-in to say, hey, is this something that we still feel like we want to go and execute on, and letting folks know that we're backed up. What do y'all think?
Yeah, well, I guess the question is timeliness. Is there a time factor in terms of, we're proposing already the individual membership program as part of the joint foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're going to wait for the survey.
Sure. Yep.
At this point, right? Like there is a proposal. It would be, unless we could get the survey turned around, like, in a few weeks, I don't know that we would want to wait for it. Doesn't mean that it's still not worthwhile. It might be something that, like, we time with the launch of the new program, or I don't know, maybe it's a checkpoint along the way for implementing that new program. Because I'm just thinking, like, in terms of being something for the proposal, we're after that point.
Sure.
So
right.
It could be a checkpoint that says, hey, we want to do this before we finalize it. Or it could be, maybe something aligned with it. Hey, we're launching this, here we've got the survey to get your feedback in terms of the past one, what you thought, the new one, what do you think? That would be another way to go.
Just in terms of, crossing off some of the options, I don't think there's a, that we could land a survey in 2 weeks, right?
Right. So yeah, I assume that. Yeah. So that's kind of where my thinking is, like, we're probably not going to get one in the short term because we've got other ones that are in the queue. And so, yeah, my thought would be to pick one of those two, like either it's a checkpoint before we finalize the one, or we do something aligned with launching the new one.
Why don't I put this on the ComCom agenda for discussion next week, and just come to a decision on whether this is still something that we should be considering in our queue.
Right. you think
Cool.
ComCom or Bootstrap?
So this was a product of the ComCom meeting.
Right.
That's
Okay.
why I'm
Yeah, that's, I think,
post
yeah.
came from ComCom.
Okay.
It is along the same timeline as Bootstrap committee was forming. Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. I was
Okay.
just curious because that the timeline may tie back to the Bootstrap committee, but anyway, I think that'll cover it.
And I personally couldn't take responsibility for bringing it to the Bootstrap one. I would have to lean on you or someone else to do that.
Yeah, no, anyway, I think that's fine. I was just musing.
Cool. All right. So I will take that. Okay. Great. Well, issue 82 is next up, and that is evolving general user feedback by hosting an online Node.js meetup. And I have an update. The release date for current that I'm working with is April 23rd. Is that right, Michael? Do you know?
I don't know that we've committed to any particular date. It's generally a Tuesday and probably one near the end of the month, but
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So end of April-ish, we have the current release, and so on the May 2nd, first Thursday of May, I've lined up SF Node to host James Snell. I've reached out. I reached out yesterday, and thanks to everyone for all the support in sort of amplifying that request. I'm now working with the folks over at Twitch. So I don't know their space, but at least conceptually, I was looking for what could be a good interactive AV experience. I know they have some amazing studios over there, and of course, it's Twitch. So that seems like it's heading in the right direction. Still not final. The date is final, and James Snell is final. The plan there is to have James do a what's new in 12 talk, and then use that as the foundation for the feedback session.
Sounds good.
Equally on my end, I've also talked to the Toronto JavaScript group about what would they need and what would we help with in terms of facilitating such a meeting. Last time we talked about putting together some guidelines, if I recall correctly, around how do we communicate that and then facilitating those conversations.
Yeah, I think we want to write down what we thought it might, like 20-minute session on 20-minute presentation, 20-minute session on feedback, to give people an idea of like how much time it was going to take and how it would fit into an existing meetup type structure.
I actually started creating, Sophie and I started creating a guide for this. So I already have a blog post in play for number one, speakers who go to meetups, and number two, people who want to host meetups. So we're just getting it through some editing phases, and we'll also share. I'll add that as issues as well. But in addition to that, for the last conversation that we had, we kind of listed out the Node user feedback at meetups. So it's issue number 115 on the repo. And I just pasted it in the chat if you want to look at it. I don't know if that's helpful.
I can use that as a starting point and try to schedule something. And for the next action item would be for that guide documentation, I guess.
Yeah. Dan, can you remind me again, what's the date for SF Node again?
May 2nd. So the first Thursday of the month.
And then Ahmed, do you have a date yet or no?
No, it was just pending those guidelines for figuring out a good next schedule that they have, because they book things months in advance. So
Right.
it's either about squeezing something in or making a new date.
Okay, sounds good. I'm updating the issue right now.
Yeah, and Dan, the 23rd is the date that's officially in the current schedule. So
Oh, great.
that's the
Awesome.
plan.
Great. Do you have a link to the current schedule or public? I would love to, I'm kind of, riffing off internal presentations and stuff like that. And I'd love to be able just to
just pasted it in there.
find that source of truth.
It's basically the main README for the release working group.
So I see.
So you can see 12 is at the
423.
bottom.
There it is. Okay.
So that's where I always go and look to remind myself. And I mean, that's the target date. So when it gets closer, there's sort of a finalization. But barring some problems, that should kind of be the date.
Nice. Are we still doing code names?
I don't know. I don't really, I don't have a strong feeling either way. So I suspect closer to the time there'll be a discussion on that.
Got it.
Some people love them, other people don't care, and I don't think it hurts anything. So
got it. So the the version 10 shows up as the latest dubnim.
Yep.
That's funny.
Well, I think we've only given code names to the LTS releases.
Right on. Okay.
Right. So that's why the one that says current release 11.x doesn't have one.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I guess Emma, looking at that, the format, and even the goals, is there much more information that you think people were asking beyond that?
No, mainly it's the format question for them to figure out the right schedule.
Right.
Like us saying, 20-minute thing, then they know they can fit us in or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Kind of the main one. And then the goals is for us to take away, and the KPIs is for us to take away.
Yep. Yeah, I just figured that, to me, that would probably be everything they would need to know. Unless they're, otherwise I was interested in they have other specific questions or info that.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be questions, but we can bring.
Oh yeah, no, they're always. But it'd be good to and then we can add them to the list even there, right? The answers to some of those.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm furiously putting down notes as we go. All right. Let's get back to the agenda. Any thoughts, questions there? Do we want to try to recruit anyone in North Carolina or any other parts? Or I'm totally comfortable with doing doing this iteration with just team members doing that, doing it.
I don't. Yeah, actually, another thing that we have in progress is the Node meetup. So let me actually share that with you guys really quickly. Sorry.
We are streaming. Is this a public initiative?
This would be fun to share, so no worries.
Cool.
So number one is Ben from Node.js. Ben Michelle. It's terrible that I don't know how to say
open source.
Yes, but he is willing to host the user feedback session for us.
Nice.
So actually, yes. So I'll go ahead and actually update that as well. Update at Ben. Oh, I forgot his. Yes. Ben.
Open source.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you. Open source is willing to host at Node PDX.
Perfect.
Well. So yeah, that's wonderful. He's just waiting for more details, but he's pretty open to that. we created, and this is more Sophie than anything. I always say we, but it was Sophie. Went and looked at, if you guys can see this, went and looked at a bunch of the different Node meetups. So, you know, London Node, Cambridge Node, NYC Node, Node Paris, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, kind of like around 50 or so meetups in the general thing with a number of members. We're going to go ahead and be adding this to the, you know, the getting started thing for Node website.
Wonderful.
Sorry, this has people's emails addresses. But anyways, the getting started for people's, the getting started guide as well. Sorry, that list, that PR, okay, give me a second. What we did 2 weeks ago was I went and submitted a PR for number 1 Node speakers that can actually submit themselves. So we have an ongoing list of local Node speakers. The second,
the Speakers Bureau? Sorry?
No, this is
different.
Like, if you are a Node speaker in the area, add yourself.
Okay.
And this will be going on the official Node website. And then in addition to that, there is also a PR that was merged in for local Node meetups. So anybody can just like go and see, hey, I'm in Argentina. Okay, like let me see my local Node meetup here.
Right.
What we did as well is we went and we found a bunch of these different Node meetups. Number 1, so that we can contact them and ask them if they want to do the user feedback sessions.
Right.
Number 2 is we're going to add them to this, to the website so that people can just, again, start finding them. From the foundation side as well, we'll also be promoting and tweeting out and saying like, hey, are you a local Node meetup? Add yourself here. Are you a local Node speaker? Add yourself here. So we're kind of solving that chicken and egg problem for us ongoing. And then that kind of goes with the guides that we've created to say like, oh, okay, you're interested. Here you go. Here's this guide to do so.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds good.
Love it.
And it's exciting, you know, Ben will be willing to do it too. So
Right on.
I don't know of any others. I actually am the organizer of the Node meetup in Raleigh. But
yeah, there's a little low-key pressure and you're working a lot. So
yeah. But you know, the number of people is just like so small is the problem. So like I'm just not even sure how useful it would be. I mean, I don't know if like 1 or 2, 5 people is useful. Like, what do you got? I mean, other people will do it for other things, but I'm just wondering if I should even.
I'm just thinking we should get a few under our belt, and like, you know, if we have the one that Dan is organizing and the one that Ahmed is organizing, let's just think about those for the next little while. Once we get those under our belt, we can think about, well, how'd they go? And then, you know, okay, what's the next places that would make sense? I do think targeting ones, you know, if we're gonna put our effort in targeting larger groups first makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then maybe getting to the point, like, you know, we talked about later making it so that meetups could do them themselves and have the feedback flow through.
Yeah.
Would be great, but I think that's kind of like, we just got to walk before we run. Let's figure out the first one, see how they go, and then go from there.
Yeah. But at least we're setting up a foundation anyways. I think based on the research we've done and like kind of, you know, setting up some parameters to get speakers and meetups to finally start saying like, hey, I'm here, you know, when we're ready in the next few months, it's much easier for us to go.
Yeah, those are all laying a good framework for, you know, somebody we could reach out to in a particular location if we thought we really wanted to do one and nobody from the community was involved, right?
Yeah, so I do have a question for Tracy. So Tracy, you said Michelle is willing to host user feedback. When is that? Once again?
He just said he was willing to do it. So I just commented on the issue in GitHub and asked him when he might be willing to do so, but also ping him on Twitter really quickly and ask him when he'd be willing to do so as well.
So we are talking about PDX node, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Because over there, they looks like they do have a schedule, February 5th, February 28th, March 14th. There are a lot of presentation over there, and probably we need to know the date. And also, I think we can get more aggressive on communication channels, because I'm pretty sure some people from Intel, for example, they might be interested. They have a new CEO right now, so I'm pretty sure things are settled down, and the people are getting more interesting.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you can get a date, maybe we can update an issue in user feedback, and I can publish. And if we have a date, I'm pretty sure there will be more people.
So the date that I would recommend PDX Node targeting. Let me just share my screen. All right. So SF Node is it gives me the second. To get to use the fancy pointing thing. Fancy pointing thing. So second is what we're looking at for SF Node. May 9th is the date that would be the sort of the normal cadence date for PDX Node. And you know what? I might even be able to talk James into going up to PDX to do that. We could do a 1-2.
Okay. Cool.
I'd be open to going up to
James, you and James, or
right?
Okay. Wait, James Snell, right? Or
right?
Okay. Okay, cool. I updated the issue, and then I also updated the DM that I've started with.
Got it. Yeah, cool. I think that especially with the audience there, bringing that presentation on core, and just sort of having that first kickoff with someone there that can represent the technical changes in the project. I think
yeah. Yay. Okay, that should be happy. Yeah, I mean, I know Ben will be very, very thankful and grateful for that. Also, what about Manil was saying that maybe he would be willing to do one, or maybe that, I don't know. When did I last talk to Manil? I'm sure it was for maybe it was for the mentor meeting, but maybe we should reach out to Manil as well and ask him if he's interested.
Absolutely. Yeah, Vancouver Node School.
Yeah. I always forget if his Twitter handle is his GitHub handle, but I think it's different. So.
Right, I think so.
I'll start a message as well. With,
that does make it harder when you can't map names too.
I know. I'll start a message as well with Manil to ask him if he's interested as well for that. And I think May gives him plenty of time.
Right. I feel super enterprisey planning that far out.
Everyone needs to plan that far out.
For real.
Hey, I know what I'm doing in December. We're not enterprise.
But especially since to Ahmed's point earlier, in some cases we're checking in every 2 weeks, so you just need that sort of horizon on these things. We're volunteering. Okay. So the other topics that I have today on the agenda are both survey related. Let's take a look at those real quick. We have issue number 77 on promises, and then 61 on stronger typing. And I'm just wondering, in in both cases, should we update them, just let folks know that we're backlogged on this, or ask if we should cut bait?
I think, well, on the stronger typing one, I think we've already talked about being interested in doing that. I think, was it Tierney who was on last time and showed interest as well? So I'm interested in seeing if we can do that. The original, I think the originator is no longer around anymore. So, I'm also happy. I think what we should do is wait till we get the other ones out of the way, and then once we see, start to think that we're going to have some availability, we can revalidate that somebody's going to be willing to put together the questions. But I'm pretty sure last time, myself and Tierney both showed interest in helping to drive that one.
Tracy, is this something we should roll up into a broader sort of tech spectrum thing? Are you at all connected with the efforts inside the foundation to prepare the next sort of marketing survey?
No, I don't work. I mean, I work with people who work on the marketing survey,
Sure.
but I mean, yeah, if you want to, I'm super happy to talk to them about it or like pull them in to this meeting or whatever it is. So
yeah, one of the great things that comes out of the NPM survey, and I don't in many way think we need to sort of counterpoint or compete with the work that Lori and the rest of the team over at NPM are doing. But it is some of the technical details of the makeup of the ecosystem, and this just some of these bits and pieces may actually make sense to include in that broader survey, and we could help inform what are the prevailing or technical ecosystem issues that we should be asking our entire community.
Yeah, I agree that you're right that like there's potentially some of these questions could be covered as part of that. So it's a good point.
Yeah, we've had in the past things like containerization and other sort of cloud stuff.
So should I just invite that person to the next user feedback meeting?
I think that'd be good, right? Let's if foundation folks can come to us. I was racking my brains on who could go to the marketing meeting, but let's do it that way. Let's start with invite to this meeting and have that discussion, and then if we need to follow up and have someone to be driving execution through the marketing meeting, sure, we'll take care of that.
Yeah, so what is that thing called again? Like Global Node Marketing Survey?
The annual Node.js survey is I think enough of a marker.
Survey owner to the next user feedback meeting.
It's a core foundation activity.
Yeah.
So if you say the big annual one should be.
Yeah. Yes, that's fine. Okay, I got that.
Great. Well, I'm going to open the floor to any questions in the sake of having us use some of our time today to just do some follow-up. There's some discussion. Anonymous hacker Ram Prakash Singh and Rajiv Dinesh are having a lively discussion on stack and the MERN stack. I still haven't written a good DShaw stack to participate in the meme that's going around the internet. So Ahmed, what is the Ahmed stack?
I thought about this long and hard, couldn't find any good acronyms. I did contribute though to the meme that's going around with the top 5 desktop applications that we're using, and I come up with 3: the browser, the terminal, and your editor. That's it.
There you go. Right.
I do have one more topic there. We ran out of time before we talked about scheduling another enterprise feedback meeting. We were also waiting on the newsletter, the survey, so we can send out as part of the newsletter and give the attendees and action items. I think we can tie that back into the next release as well. That would make perfect sense. I think, I don't know, probably it's after the release would be better. If we say it's been released, how are you getting ready? What are you prepping for? What are internal conversations and challenges you're having that so we can actually make it more actionable in that context? So it's just a matter of picking the date then. Do we think a week after release is good enough? A day after? I don't know.
That week before. Yeah, I like that lineup. So let's look at a calendar. And
I guess it's like, does it have to be strictly after? Like, are people going to immediately do something different, or is it that they start to get ready a couple weeks before? Or
well, I see it as a. I mean, we can come out where we want in terms of before we have a different framing than after. I would say, given that we haven't mobilized the community yet in a more specific cadence, after would probably be more valuable for a conversation.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I would imagine that would also mean that we would have to do less work, right? So we're taking and bringing forward the work that the folks working on core are doing. I don't want to inject more sort of discovery work that we need to do ahead of time, or requests that we're sort of bugging everybody. So if we let the natural course of the release play out, then we'll have the opportunity.
From the what's new question, that's certainly okay, makes sense.
So that Thursday is bring your kid to work today. Now that I've gone corporate, I'm really excited about doing that for the first time. Important news. So Ahmed, is that do you want to target the Thursday again rather than Friday?
What was the date?
Thursday, April 25th. The 26th would be our normal meeting cadence, and
yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think just for to Michael's point, as a pre-release action would be like the call for the meeting and reminder that this is happening for the release. So that gives them enough of a to-do list. And the 25th sounds about right.
Great. So we did 1 p.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Pacific.
Sounds good.
All right. I'm going to move our meeting from the 26th of April and reschedule that as the enterprise session. Great.
So one more time, instead of April 26th, we'll have an enterprise on 25th, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Just for the meeting notes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we aren't boring our viewers. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream and give us a couple minutes here just to make sure we're getting all our issues and capturing our action items.
Yeah, I have to drop off so I can eat before my next meeting. But
okay, go take care of yourself, Michael.
Let me know. Just mention me if I get something with my name on it. So
sounds good.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much.